It's my favorite part of the build process. Of course, I'm talking about painting. And I'm going to walk you through how I painted the arms for my Cody build today on Darth Rage Reviews.
Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force? Nah, for the Republic!
Greetings, Force fans, and welcome to another episode of Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force. So we are deep into a build now. This is when it starts to get fun for me, y'all. I'm talking about my Cody build. If you guys have been following along, I've got the helmet, I've got the shoulders, I've got the jetpack. Helmet's right there. Now I've got all of the arms done. So I'm really probably right around the halfway point of this build. And I'm really excited about it. I'm starting to get re-energized about it, and I'm pretty sure I'm just going to kind of tear through the rest of this. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about really one of my favorite processes in any build, and that's when you get to the paint. Because when you get to the painting portion, that's when you really get to kind of make this piece of plastic come to life, make it realistic, make it look like it's used, it's in universe. It's the thing that's awesome about Star Wars, and the thing that I love about Star Wars is that it's a well-worn, well-used universe. Everything in there nothing's brand new, pristine, nice looking. And one of my favorite parts about any of these builds is painting and weathering the armor, the helmet, the whatever it is. So today we're going to walk you through what I did for the arms for Cody. So Cody uses a whole lot of different paints. The helmet itself, I think, had, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different paint colors on the helmet. Then in addition, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors on the arms. So a lot of different paint choices that I'm having to go through for these. So, what am I using for the arms? I'm using Rust-Oleum. So Blossom White is the white that I've gone for this clone. And, I found that you can really use any white color that you want. I've used a flat white, Blossom White. I've used Montana Shock White. Any white will do. I started this build with the Blossom White, so I want to continue it through with the Blossom White just so all the whites match. So Rust-Oleum Blossom White. I've had issues in the past with Rust-Oleum. It's by far the least expensive of the paints. It's easily accessible at my hardware store, so that's why I use it. Sometimes it does react, and it does get some strange, when you put one color on top of another color, sometimes it doesn't exactly do what it's supposed to do. That did actually happen this time with the gray that I used, and I forget which exact gray it is that I used for this, but it is a Rust-Oleum color. When I put it on top of it, it started to get the cracking and kind of blistering in there that you see these, cracks that are there, which has happened before with me using Rust-Oleum or putting something on top of Rust-Oleum. In this case, it actually worked because this portion of the armor is weathered. So, it actually worked for that. But yeah, were this supposed to be a solid color, that would have really ticked me off, and I'd had to sand it back and kind of start back from scratch. And nobody wants to do that. So I understand why some people have problems with Rust-Oleums, but used a Rust-Oleum gray on that. Used my Montana Orangina, Montana Gold Orangina for the orange, and that's going to be continued through to the legs. The knee pieces have it, and the center armor has the orange as well. And then you've got the strap itself, which is gold, but this was a gold resin strap that I got from Sanitized Creation, so I didn't actually have to do any painting on that. So that's where we're at with the paint. I'm really, really psyched with how I, did some of these blaster marks in here, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to get it on the cameras here, but so the blaster marks, I started with just a standard black acrylic paint. And I come through with a dry brush to kind of come in and give it some, definition in there. But then in the center of it, I came back through with rub and buff. So when you actually the light hits it, you'll kind of get the metal that's in the blaster mark. And yeah, I think that looks hot. So very, very psyched with kind of how I did the blaster marks on this. So enough about me talking about it. Why don't I show you guys a little bit of this process? So we've got a couple different things we're doing here. We've got to paint these rubber straps, which requires, you can use a couple different things. You could use a Flex Seal. I forget what the name of the paint is that I'm using on this. It's going to come, Plastidip. I used a Plastidip on this, but you need that on this rubber because a normal paint will not, it'll stick to it and then it'll flake off. So I've got that paint for that. In addition to the painting, I've got the construction of this strap here. So this is a piece that is, it's basically specific to Cody or a Commander build. The other clones do not have this. And I got this kit from Sanitized Creations. It was this strap here, and then this separate pin and end piece here. It came with no instructions, and I just basically kind of had to finagle and figure out how to do that. So I'm very pleased with how this looks as well. Very nice piece. It is heavy. Anything that's using these resin cast pieces are going to be a little heavier than the ABS plastic, but I also kind of show how I do that. So let's pause. Let's take a look at the painting process of this so you guys can kind of see how I made these look the way that they look. So let's take a look at painting my Cody arm armor. So we're starting with a Rust-Oleum Blossom White, same white I've used on the helmet and everything else, and I want it to match, so I put a couple coats of that on. I don't really show me putting it all on there because you've seen me spray painting white. But a couple coats of white just on everything to get it that nice uniform look. Very simple process. Just takes several steps. Then we're on to Plastidip. This is for all the rubber pieces, so it's the rubber shoulder straps that are going to be white. I just went ahead and painted those, and then the back of the knee or elbow straps are also white. So I painted that with Plastidip. You have to do Plastidip on this because regular paint's just going to chip off. Then it's on to liquid latex. So I added liquid latex to all of the pieces are going to be orange, so I could scrape that off later to add the weathering look. Using that Montana Gold Orangina for this. It's such a pretty color. Same color it's on the helmet, same color it's going to be on the leg pieces, chest pieces as well. So a couple coats of that Orangina on all of the orange pieces. And yeah, very simple. Then I'm going through the CRL here. It says it's about 1.5 inches gray stripe on these. So I'm measuring that off, putting a little pencil mark, and then I tape those off. So it's 1.5 inches gray stripe on both biceps and both forearms. Yep, just simple process. Tape it off and then spray paint it on. So I tape these, don't show painting the whole thing or taping the whole thing. And then it's time to add those little gray stripes. So I'm using a Rust-Oleum Granite Gray here. It does actually do a strange reaction, unfortunately, but it works for me, so it kind of cracked, but I just added it to the weathering. And right here I need a simple little black piece of ABS plastic behind there just because those two little notches are supposed to be black underneath. So just put that on there. It makes it easier. And I'm rubbing off all of that liquid latex, and you can see it just adds the white part of that on there. Then I've got to super glue these rubber straps there. Very simple process. Just a little bit of super glue on there. Put it on there and spray it with some activator to get it to sit. And that just goes on really simply on all of those, both sides. And then we're done with the arms. I'll probably add some elastic later on, but again, that'll be in the strapping process. So then the favorite part of any build is pulling off the tape. I got these nice, pretty clean lines, and you can see where that Rust-Oleum kind of reacted and cracked, but yeah, it actually works with the weathering. Same thing for the forearms. Pull this tape off, and it looks gorgeous. Gorgeous. It's just what I wanted. Love it, love it. Take off the liquid latex as well there, and that's the beginning part of the weathering. So on one of these forearms, we're going to have to glue on the compad piece. The compad piece is an easy piece to attach on there. Yeah, whole lot of super glue, pressure, get it on, get it in place, and spray it with the activator again. That's how you do it. And that's the back of my head. Yeah, love my camera angles. So this is something that's specific to the Cody or Commander build. So he's got this strap and pin that come attached to one of the biceps. So I kind of had to figure this all out by myself. The strap was just a single individual strap that I had to glue together. Super glued it with another piece that I cut off just to add a little bit of a back there, so where it sits on the bicep, it'll actually kind of sit correctly because it sits right over the portion of the bicep that has the dimple indentation. Tape or glue that off and it's ready to go. Then it's time for weathering. Yeah, it's my favorite part. It's kind of adding that dimension. So it's a black wash acrylic. You paint it all on and then wipe it all off. Sometimes it takes 2 coats, sometimes it takes 3. And you see I'm doing this to all of the pieces. Love that black wash acrylic. Then I'm doing the blaster marks. So I start with just regular acrylic paint and a fine edged brush. Do those blaster marks with that, and then I dry brush around them just to kind of give them a blaster look, if you will. You can kind of see me going up through there with that. And in these, I actually added also a little bit of rub and buff to give it a silver coat. Cover the whole thing with a semi-gloss clear coat, and we're done. That's the process. That's how I did it, y'all. You know, again, painting is by far my favorite portion of all of these builds. You know, I love it. It gives that really kind of that extra layer of life to your build, makes it look realistic, kind of turns it from plastic into looking like real Clone Trooper armor. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that. And again, this is all self-taught, and this is all something that you can do yourself. You know, just by watching these videos, I give you all the techniques that you need. You don't need any fancy equipment. You know, I did just get an airbrush, but I haven't used an airbrush on any of my builds to date. It's all dry brushing and, you know, acrylic paints and hand painting. But yeah, I'm starting to move along on the build. So I've got basically the helmet, all the arms done because I'd already done the shoulders, you know, earlier. I've got the jetpack done as well. Yes, Cody has a jetpack, which is why he is so much badass. More badass than Rex, you know, sue me, but that's how I feel. So I've got the jetpack done as well. So all these pieces are coming along. Where do I go from here? So next up is the legs, which is a very similar process. The paint is all white, only one orange stripe on one of the thighs, and then both knees are orange. The knees are very similar to the elbows in the construction, so there'll be a little bit of construction in that. The big portion of it is the shin spoon. So I'm going to be focusing this next video on creating the shin spoons and kind of how you create the shin spoons, because it's a tough process, and it's probably the most daunting portion of a realistic clone build is how do you create that shin spoon that pops in there. So look for that coming up next. Legs, thighs, knees, the whole deal, everything for the lower body. Get that knocked out, and then we move on to the torso. It's really slowly but surely coming along, and you know, I hope to have this all done within a month or so. Reveal the entire completed Cody. So let me know, guys, what you think in the comments. Let me know, you know, if you're enjoying this build so far. Let me know if there's anything specific that you want to see in the process. I'm happy to share it all. If you liked it, guys, please give me a like, give me a comment, subscribe. Why not subscribe? There's lots of stuff like this all in there. Just hit that. There's a little button over there somewhere that says subscribe. So hit the subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I'm Darth Rage. This is Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.